For me, it's really important for things to feel collected over time. Even though it may be the case that we sign on a project and work with a client and furnish a home over the course of 18 months or 2 years or however long that project lasts, it shouldn't ever feel like it was all put together in 18 months. For us, it's really important that things feel collected over time, that there's a mixture of styles that we incorporate into a home. We're not purists. We don't really, it's not important for us to have in a mid-century modern home, every single piece needs to be mid-century modern. It's for us, it becomes interesting and a collection feels soulful and thoughtful when there are things that on paper may seem like they may not work together, but when installed in a room or in a space together, there's a really beautiful kind of harmony and balance. So that's really what we strive for, is to create something that feels natural and not over decorated. My first job out of college, I actually worked at Architectural Digest on the ad side in New York City. And I was an assistant to the lady who ran the arts and antiques accounts. So that was kind of my entree to the world of, going on calls and meeting with different dealers and different gallerists all over the city and really being exposed to, a really amazing kind of array of art and antiques and design. And I think that's when it clicked in my mind that it was something that I loved and that I wanted to pursue for myself. When we start working with clients, to establish kind of a language is really important to us. And I think first and foremost, that comes from understanding how that client likes to live. Early on in the process, we don't really talk at all about look and feel, about aesthetics. It's really more about program. How do you like to live? How many bedrooms do you need? Do you entertain a lot? Do you have a lot of dinner parties? Do you have animals? Do you have kids? How old are they? All of those things. I think it's so important to understand how a client wants to experience their home and how they want to kind of live in their space. Because if you don't nail that, and if you don't give them that sense of, what they're seeking, doesn't matter how beautiful all the furniture you put into that house is, it's never going to feel right. So I think everything kind of grows first and foremost from what a client needs from a programmatic perspective. One thing that pops to mind instantly is the use of color. I feel like that's a big thing that a lot of couples disagree on a lot. We have couples where, one person in the couple loves super neutral, earthy palettes, and another loves bold, vibrant, colorful kind of interiors. So it's tricky because it's obviously hard to kind of marry those two things together. But usually the way we can settle something like that is, giving moments where, whether it's in a powder room and you get a really beautiful, lacquered, red or green wall, or, an upholstered wall, giving them kind of moments throughout the house where you feel like there's a shot of color or there's a shot of, one person's sensibilities, but not making that the entire story throughout the house. Kitchens are definitely one of the hardest things to, I think, work through with a client, because everyone has such personal kind of opinions about how they want to use a kitchen. And, we always start with a kitchen first and foremost by talking about the appliances that a person needs, because that completely dictates the spatial planning. It dictates the layout. That dictates how much storage versus appliances you have available. So that's kind of the first discussion, is the appliances. But from there, I think the kitchen, I think across the board with all of our clients, everyone says that the kitchen is kind of the hub of their house. And that's where people congregate. That's where they spend the most amount of time. So it's really kind of one of the lengthier, I think, discussions in a project, and usually involves the most amount of iterations, because people want to make sure that they nail it because it's such an important space to them.